Good morning, Rabboisai. Lilu Nishmas, Imi Mirosirus Bats Mordechai, and Mordechai ben Sora. We have here the Siyumim are kicking in high gear. The Miami crew preparing for the Siyum of Moed Katan. Preparations underway. This, I forgot where this is from. I love the picture because of the beautiful view of that tower. And in the background, someone is learning the daf. We have here Maseches Megillah. Free Gemara if you come to Chalavi in Chicago. Shee. I thought we were going to mainstream this, and everybody's going to have like the same, nobody has to do their own art. Here, this is Wycliffe, Ohio. Everybody's doing their own shtick here. Thursday, January 13th. Beautiful. In Chicago, by the way, I heard from Steve Jakubowski. He said he was at every Siyum besides one, but he's just not in the picture, so my bad. This is from Ron Sterling. Eli and the MDY team. I started with MDY at the beginning of the cycle, and I want to thank you for the journey. I actually say that I'm doing Daf Yomi as a spectator sport, and I really appreciate the effort of the MDY team. I have to thank you for improving the mechanics of my tefillah, as well as more connection to tefillah itself. I also frequently find connections between the Daf and the Parsha, which puts a new spin on my understanding of the Parsha. You frequently say that Achdus is important to you. I've attended Siyum in Lakewood, Baltimore, and Silver Spring. Maybe Taka, we could get Ron Sterling to attend Chicago. That would be nice. We got to, pump it up a little bit. Each and every time I meet people who connect with me as if we've been friends for years, I've spoken to complete strangers, immediately connect with me since we both do the daf through MDY. You've succeeded in projecting Achdus in a way that's inspirational and contagious. Inspirational and contagious. MDY has grown tremendously, and that is great. I look forward to meeting you in person someday, but thanks again. Shabbat Shalom, Ronnie Sterling. Your shir is great. From Daniel Fromm. Look forward to waking up and seeing the daily daf. I just started daf at Megillah, thanks to Darren Rakin. Coincidentally, Maseches Megillah was my first siyum during my year in Israel in 2000. Wow. So it's been a long time coming. Look forward to making a siyum next week. Daniel Fro. Was noch? That's it. Rabboisai. Shabbos tomorrow. It's the last Shabbos before we start Moed Katan. Grab your friends in shul. Grab them. On Shabbos, tell them about joinmdy.com. You could, l'chayra, there's haterim to even go online maybe. I don't know. Okay, now I'm going to get email that people are going to take it seriously, so you shouldn't even say it as a joke. Okay, fine. The Parnas HaChodesh for the Koilel is Chayim from Lakewood. And Leilu Nishmas Yehushua Aryeh Leyb HaKohen ben Yonatan Chayim Zechron Levracha. Refuah Sidi Deinu Reb Shalom Baruch Yehuda ben Malka Freda. Has anybody heard any news from him? I haven't heard yesterday. Maseches Megillah. Sponsored by the Davis and Kessler families and zechus for Refuah shleima for Miriam Esther Bas Devora. Maseches Megillah by Shmuly Hecht F245. The Nishmas from Mordechai Shlema פינחס Ben Harav Moshe Avraham by Avrum and Shprincy Gross in honor of the wedding of Gavri Kiss to Emily Winokur. May they be zechus to build a Beis in Israel. Shmuly Furman RL 245 in honor of his father's yahrzeit Harav Moshe Avraham ben Asher Zelig ZL by Moe Landy. For all of you, we're sick and tired of hearing all these Atzala guys, so jump in yourself and do something about it. Don't let them take over if you're so upset about it. Moe Landy, L'zech Nishmas Moshe Aaron ben Rachel, whose Hakamas Matzev is today, and first yahrzeit is on Shabbos. Yehuda and Gavriel, in honor of Shimmy Rapp, our fearless leader who got us to start learning the daf, and whose only fear is Haleakala Park Ranger. I have no idea what that is. It's the second time already. I'm probably not pronouncing it very well. Yochanan Adler, leading the Shvas Rabbi Yosef ben Reb Peretz. He was nifted during the war, and Bekitzer, his cousin, did a lot of digging. They found out that he wasn't killed, but was nifter from pneumonia. Interesting stuff. Rabbi Isai, here we go. Join dafyomi.com, right? Something like that. If I don't know it, how would you guys know? Bekitzer, Rabbi Say, here we are. We're on Daf Amud Beis. Today's Daf Chovav. And we've been very consistent with where we finish. We finish off like 10 lines before the bottom of every Daf. We never finish the Daf this whole week. Baruch Hashem. Special for Megillah. I just want to say Shalom Aleichem to some of the guys on Zoom. Once we're here with Zoom. Binyamin Schwartz from the Five Towns. Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Binyamin. And Rabbi Yitzchak Bernak from Muncie. And Akiva Ziegler from Borough Park. Who else do we have here? Joe Berry. I have no idea where you're from. Oh, this is unbelievable. Rabbi said this is a true story. Everybody that was on Zoom 2 days ago knows this story to be true. I was trying to be very nice. There's somebody right now on the front screen, on the first screen. His name is Rabbi Avi Levinson. And I said to him, Shalom Aleichem, a new face from the past. And everybody jumped in and said, are you kidding me? He's been here for 2 years, every single day. And I just noticed him now. I think his screen was off, or I'm just not paying a lot of attention. Look at him. He has the Hadras Ponim, the whole thing. And I didn't notice him. Okay, Torah Rabbanon. I'm asking Mechila Barabim, Rabavi. Torah Rabbanon. Kol HaMikrois HaKsuvim BaTorah. So we're like, 12 lines before the new parak. I wanted to get to the new parak yesterday, but we ran out of time. I'm going to show you just one example. The Gemara brings many. The red is how it actually says it in the Torah. So we're talking about somebody else coming and being with his wife. Yishoglena is a very harsh language. Yishkovena is a refined language. Actually, in English, we also have a very similar word. Sleep, slept. It's to take a vulgar word and make it refined. Yishkovena. So the Bakayre, he says the green, even though it says the red. Ba'afoilim, batchayrim, chiryoinim, devyoinim. So ba'afoilim and chayrim, talking about the rear end, saying it in a nicer way. Chiryoinim, there's actually a word in Hebrew that's a vulgar word today, ches reish aleph. And it basically means waste. And instead of saying chiryoinim, we read it divyoinim. Dav is like a lashon of ziva that comes out from a yaina, the waste of a bird. Lechol es chareim v'lishtos is meimei shineim. So we take the words chareim and shineim. Instead we say lechol es tzayasam v'lishtos es meimei ragleim. Change it to meimei ragleim. It's a little bit of a nicer way of. It's a little less vulgar. L'machrois, l'moitzais. L'machrois is the whole where the tzoy would come from. L'moitzais is like the final product. So again, less vulgar, more refined. Rabbi Shubin Karcha Omer, l'machrois kishman. No, we don't. We want to be vulgar because we're talking about avodah zarah, so we want to say it in the worst way possible. Omer Rav Nachman, leitzinusa asira. One leitzanos is doicha. All the teichachas, right? Leitzanos is to take something and put it down. Bar mileitzanus avodah zarah the sharia, but if you're making fun of avodah zarah, that's a good thing. The chsiv, kara beil kaireis nevoi. It's terrible stuff. It's squatting, splashing diarrhea. Bekitzer is like the worst. Uchsiv karsu. Charu yachtov lo yachlu maleit masa. Can't even hold on to their load. They just let it out. The kids are making fun of avodah zarah. V'ani omar mehacha leeglois beis oven yaguru shchein shoimroim. The yaguru is the lashon of being afraid. Ki ovel olav amoy uchmarav olav yagilu al kvoidoi ki galam imenu. Al tikri kvoidoi el kvoidoi. Don't. It's not about honor. It's his load of waste. Omer Avuno bar Menoyach Mishmei Rav Achaber Ravika Shari Leile Bar Yisrael Meimar Leilo Ovid Kechavim. So similar to what I mentioned a few times with Rav Avigdor Miller, you could say to the idol worshipper, Shakli Avodah Zarah va'anchei b'shin tof shaloi. Interesting that it's almost again there's a similar word, the S word in English, shin tof shaloi. And it's referring to the rear end. Take the avodah zarah and put in the rear end. Oh, Ravashi. Haiman Desani, excuse me. By the way, I forgot to mention, the official, we're going to go to, this was going to be our largest siyum ever. We're anticipating close to 350 people in Ramat Bet Shemesh. We had almost 100 Bachrim that were going to come, and we had to postpone it because just yesterday over 10 people tested positive from the Beis Medrash. So I escaped in the nick of time. I got a test yesterday. It's a rapid. I don't know how accurate, but I came out negative, Baruch Hashem. I have a serious cold. And, cold and corona, one and the same today, whatever. But I have a good cold. But because of what's going on, and 10 guys from the first minyan tested positive, so it doesn't make sense for us to do the scene, bring 350 people into one small room and get everybody sick. So they decided to postpone it, but all the other siyum around the world are going strong, Baruch Hashem. Zog the Gemara. Omer Ravashi Haiman Desani Shum Onei. So it's almost in Yana D'Yayma, if somebody there's a bad rumor about somebody, and we're talking about that the rumor is substantiated, it's not just like a WhatsApp, that there's some busser to it. Again, we're talking about Haiman Desani Shimone. He has a name that he was over in Arayas. He did something, he wasn't good. Bad guy. Again, it's a hint to the word. He's a bar girasa. He's the son of a gira again in Hebrew. Probably one of the biggest curses that I'm familiar with is this word, the son of a zayna. That's how you want to curse somebody. That's what you say in Eretz Yisrael today. And what's interesting is that if this guy is over an arayas, a molester, whatever he is, you could embarrass his mother, even though his mother had nothing to do with it, and she's a G'daysh Tahira. You put his mother down. You call her a Zayna. This guy is the son of a Zayna. And again, when it comes to Arayas, these kind of things, there's no Eidim. Nobody were in the room. Nobody was there. Oh, I didn't see it, so I can't say it. It's Lashon Hara. When it comes to these things, the rumor is what rules. When there's smoke, there's fire, when people say about so-and-so, there's a certain thing, so you have to be choishish for that. That's the Gemara here. Levazui begimel shin. Haiman, the Shaper Shumone. If somebody has a good name, Shari Shabuchei, you could be Shabeachim. I wanted actually to look into it because there is Metoich Shabal Shvach, Balignai, the Chavetz Chaim, and I forgot to look into it. So if somebody has a good pshat, why is it Shari Shabuchei? You should typically not speak good about people also. Uman de Shabchei, Yenuchuloi Brochos al Roshai. I might be learning complete wrong pshat because I said I'm going to look into it and I forgot. I apologize. Shali Shabuchei, Uman de Shabchei, Yenuchuloi Brochos al Roshai. And whoever does give shvach to somebody, he'll have brochos on his head. Hadran aloch hakoyres amegillah. Hadran aloch hakoyres amegillah me'oimed. Hadran aloch hakoyres amegillah oimed. Hadran aloch hakoyres amegillah oimed. Hadran aloch hakoyres amegillah oimed. Okay. The official Mishnah, L'schos Ruchni, Fashim Shen David Lipa, Yosef Yehuda, Yeshua Michal, Bnei Yehudis Beila. Stam a question. Here's a picture. Here's the kotel, the Kaisel Amaravi. This area right over here is a shul. There's no question. There's people all day long. It's one of the biggest shuls in the world. The most people ever right over here. What about this area right over here? The upper, here's the fence, the upper part. Now what's the question? Question is that on Sukkot, this becomes part of the shul. On Shavuos night, there's a couple days a year, maybe more, maybe 5 days a year, I don't know, that they actually use it. Is there Gedusha to this area? And it's enough Geminas we're going to learn later, not today, but different things that you could and can't do in a shul. Shmuz with your friend, whatever it is, different, we're going to see later. B'nei Ir, shemachu rechayva shel Ir. Rechayva, not so much a street, is the city center. So I spent a lot of time this morning. I don't know if it's wasted time because it's actually a very simple thing and we don't need a chart. But I thought it'd be cool to do it anyway, so I did it. If it helps even one kid somewhere, maybe. The point is that we're always going upwards. When there's a sale in Kedusha, the money has a certain Kedusha, and therefore you could purchase one thing up. So, just watch, don't shake this thing. This is the city center. If they sell the city center, then they should buy the next step up, Malam B'Kodesh, they should buy a shul. If they sell a shul, then what they should do is buy an Aron Kodesh. If they sell Aron Kodesh, my brother-in-law bought an Aron Kodesh, today you buy it on eBay or whatever. People sell everything. You sell Aron Kodesh, so the money that you get from the Aron Kodesh, you could buy the mantle, the coat that goes over the Sefer Torah. Not a great picture, but the best one I was able to come up with. If you sell the mantle, the coat, then you could buy Nevi'im. It says over here, Yeshaya, I don't know if you could see. It's a Navi. And if you sell a Navi with cloth, then you could buy your Sefer Torah. But you cannot go backwards. So if you sell a Sefer Torah, you can't buy a Navi. If you sell a Navi, you can't buy the mantle, Aron Kodesh, Shul, city center. What's so chashuv about a city center? Why would I have any Kedusha at all? So says the Mishnah, Bnei Yair, Shemachru Chayva Shalir, they sold the town square, Loichim Edama of Beis HaKnesses, they could purchase with the proceeds a shul, because they're going upwards in Kedusha. Beis HaKnesses, if they sell a shul, Loichin Teva. I want to show you because, show it to you now, in Chicago, I happened to be driving one day in the south side of Chicago. The south side of Chicago today is a very bad neighborhood. You probably heard on the news, sometimes on a weekend they have 13 murders and shootings, and it's crazy. But it used to be the center of Yiddishkeit in Chicago. And as the neighborhood changed, demographics, the Jews started moving to the north side. Far away, literally. It could take 45 minutes to drive one place to the other. So I have a property there. The Kool-Aid factory is there. And all of a sudden I'm driving down a block and I see a thing with a cross, and you look closely and it says, Anche Matala, whatever it said, in stone. You cannot believe it. It's a shul that's a church. I just went on right now. Here's a different one. This is a beautiful, beautiful shul from the 1800s, late 1800s in Chicago. It's called Anche Ma'ariv, and today it's a church. So we all know the Gemara. If you talk during davening in shul, I'm not saying that that's what they did, but that's what happens. A shul could turn into a church if they talk during davening. I wasn't there, so I don't know, but that's the halacha. But unfortunately, all these shuls were sold at one point. And who's going to buy a shul? I mean, you're not buying a shul to live in. You buy a shul for their services, for whatever they did. So, Beis HaKnesses, if you sell a shul, loichin teva. What do you do with the money? At some point in time, somebody sold these shuls. So you buy Aron Kodesh. Teva, loichin mitpachos. If you sell the Aron Kodesh, you could buy the coat for the Torah. Mitpachos. If you want to see it again, if it makes a difference. Mitpachos yikhu sfarim. I was beating myself up. I was like, this is what you got up at 3:30 in the morning. I look at the clock, it's like, wow, it's in the 4s already. And what did I do? I accomplished one staircase. I mean, it's self-explanatory, but whatever. I had a cheshik to do it. Mitpachos yikhu sfarim. Svarim are Nevi'im Iksuvim. So if you sell the coat of the Torah that's a Tashmish Kedusha, it protects the Kedusha of the Sefer Torah, then you have to go up a level. You have to buy Nevi'im. Svarim, Loichim Torah. And by the way, Nevi'im are very important. Not a lot of shuls in America have it. I'm sure there are many, but not here in Eretz Yisrael, there's much more makbid, I believe. Actually, our shul doesn't have, because of the fact that if somebody lanes from the klaf, then he can be mitzi the whole place. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think, the guy's laning from the chumash, from the thick Tanakh, and I don't have to say anything. You have to say the words. L'chayr, you have to read it with him. If you don't have a klaf. Klaf is better. So yikhu svarim le'ikchum Torah. And if you sell those klaf, then you buy a sefer Torah with it. Avle machru Torah. What if you go in reverse? So reverse is very pashut. Same exact thing. Avle machru Torah lo yikhu svarim. You sell a Torah, you don't buy navi. Svarim lo yikhu mitpachas, you don't buy the mantle mitpachas lo yikhu teva. You cannot buy Aron Kodesh. Teva lo yikhu beis hakneses. If you sell Aron Kodesh, do not buy a shul. Beis hakneses lo yikhu zer chayiv. I actually saw that the shul is like a tashmish kedusha. It's not like a real kedusha in it. It just helps you to daven and do everything. That's what they're trying to want to explain on Amud Beis. V'chein b'moisrein. Fine. So if they sell svarim and whatever's left over, they bought a Torah, but they have left over, so you can't buy from the leftover money something that has less kedusha. Says the Gemara, Bnei Yehushua Machar B'Chayv Shalir, Amar Rabba, Bar Bachan, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Zu Divrei Rabbi Menachem Bar Yosi Stumasa. Those are Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Menachem, that he said a lot of anonymous things. A lot of Mishnayos are him, anonymous. What do you mean? It's a city center. Why would city center have any kedusha at all? Rabbi Menachem Bar Yosi my time. But so no, what does Rabbi Menachem hold? The tzibur goes there once every who knows how often, maybe every few years when it doesn't rain and they need to make a tightness, they go to the city square. So the city square has kedusha. Mamadais, Rashi struggles with Mamadais because in Titus we learned a lot about Mamadais. It's the representation of Klal Yisrael for the carbon tamid. When in the world do they go to the city square? It doesn't say anywhere in Titus that they go there. So Rashi says that maybe it means that there's a shul in the square. That makes sense. You know, people are in the square, in the market, and they want to jump in for a quick mincha. So there's a shul there, and that's where the Anshim HaModais used to hang out and even sleep there, not even go home, be there and daven and do all their things, the fasting and everything they did. Rabbanon. No. So once in a while, Klal Yisrael goes to the city square, so it has Kedusha. Ahu akroi ba'alma. That's only once in a blue moon. Coming back to this picture. So l'chayra, since from this area to here is akroi ba'alma, it happens only a few times a year. So there shouldn't be any kedusha in rachavat kotel, in the upper rachava of the kotel. The lower rachava, then that's a real shul. Doesn't get any more shul than that. But this up, again, I'm not a rav. I'm just saying l'chayra. Says the Gemara Beis Knesses, lo yichim teva. You sell a shul, you buy your own kodesh. Amar Shmuly ben Achmei Amar Yonatan. Lo yishanu ela Beis Knesses shel Kfarim. A little small place. It's a privately owned, like in Muncie. A guy builds a little shul there. It's his private shul. Avo Beis Knesses shel Krachin. But if you're in a larger city, in the middle of Bnei Brak, you're middle of New York, Landau. Who owns Landau? The tzibur owns Landau. Kivin dem alma osule le motzim zavinile. Where do they get the money from? Where do people come from? The ma'alma also. People come from all over the world to daven there in the minion factory. Now, again, I'm not pasking for Landau. I don't know what the situation is. And it's very possible the guy built it with his own funds, and he said, it's mine, and I have intent to keep it forever, and one day to sell it, it might be different. But in general, when you have a shul that's a tzibur shul, and the money comes from the rabbim, and the rabbim come there, then, everybody in the kollel is asking, no, so what about MDY? Now, MDY I paid for with my own money, and hopefully one day maybe I'll get paid back. But right now, I'm out some money. And why do people come there? So we have to see. Omar Ravashi, this shul in Mechasio, a lot of people come there, they come for me, if I want, it's mine, I could sell it. So I started telling the guys, look, I think they come for the shear, this, that. I don't want to sell it, I'll never sell it, I'll give it to somebody, whatever, if we ever have to move. But it's interesting, Shaila, every shul, you have to think about, why do people come? Is it a mini factory? They come for you, they come for him. Who paid for it, how, where, when? I'm sure there's a lot of Shailas, a lot of halachas here. Where's the shul? In Yerushalayim. Tursiim, says Rashi, these are coppersmiths. Coppersmith. Seems like copper, even if they're not smiths, maybe they mine the copper. It's a very smelly thing. And nobody wanted to daven with them, so they had to make their own little shul in Yerushalayim. So to get away from the Olam. We once had it in the Gemara that he's the head of the shul. So he did whatever, they sold him the shul. So he did whatever he wanted to it. But look, it was in Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is a major city. And you just said if there's a shul in a city, then it's everybody's. Says Gemara, it's a small little shtibel. They built it for themselves. I guess they had a problem of some sort, that smell, that nobody wanted to daven with them, so they built it. So now it's different. So each case is own independent. I don't know, like if you have a Rebbe, I know in Chicago, some of the Rebbes there, they physically own the building, they paid it with their own money, it's theirs, so it's different. We're talking about a negatzaras. You see, like the wall in your house starts turning colors, changing. It has to be in a house that's you inherited. Something that you inherited. You got from Yeshua, you got an achuzah in Eretz Yisrael. But it doesn't apply in Yerushalayim. Not true. It's not Yerushalayim. It's not Har Nov. It means on Harav Moshe there's something called the Beis Hamikdash in there only. There's no the whole Makom Mikdash. There's no negatzaras. Oh, but the Knesiyos, but the Midrashos. What about the bells of Beis Medrash? Mitamim, it does become tamim. Amai hodikrachim havu, since it's public property, so it's not achuzaschem. Achuzaschem means it's yours. You inherited it. You have a Bible on it. A shul, we just discussed, a shul is everybody's. People come in from all over the world. You can't sell it. You can't do anything with it. So it's not achuzaschem. Okay, so we have to change it out. It's not Mikdash. Doesn't mean the Beis Hamikdash. Any place, any shul that has Kedusha is not affected by tzuras. Why? Again, because it's not a chuzaschem. It's not yours. It has to be private property. Says Gemara, what's the source of the machlokes? Tanakama Sobar. Lo nischalku Yerushalayim l'shvatim. So we had this Gemara in Yuma. Whether or not Yerushalayim was divided up to the shvatim. So Rabbi Yehuda Sovar nischalku Yerushalayim l'shvatim. Tanakama Sovar lo nischalku Yerushalayim l'shvatim. In other words, according to the Tanakama, if I'm a guest on Yontif, on Oile Regel, I go into any building I feel like, I open up the door, Shalom Aleichem, my name is Eli, I'm here to sleep in your bed. That's it, that's all you have to do. You don't ask questions, it's not your property. I have the right to be in your house like you have the right to be in your house. Nobody owns anything. It's Yerushalayim, it's for everybody during Aliyah Regel. We've looked at the Aretanoy, and this is a machlokes Tanoy, the Sanya, Moya b'chelka shel Yehuda, Harav Moshe Avraham, Vazars. So we have a mini for today. This is the Beis Hamikdash. Harav Moshe over here. So what's in Yehuda's chelek? Yehuda has the har, everything around, halashachos, the lishkos that are over here by the chel, from this little fence here. You see the black? That's a fence around everything. Inside the chel, the lishkos, this area. Va'azaros. So we have here Ezras Nashim, this giant piece over here. We have Ezras Yisrael. You see this yellow line? That's one little piece, 11 amma. And then you have Ezras Kohanim. So you have 3 Azaros, 1, 2, and 3. All this, Yehuda. And what did Binyamin have? Ulam vehechal ubeis kodesh HaKadoshim. Now, Binyamin had the real Kedusha here, the greatest Kedusha. Right up here, this square is Kodesh HaKadoshim. Nobody ever went in there. Once a year, Kohen Gadol went in there. There was the Aron, the Luchos, the Kruvim. That's it. Over here, the Heichal, this area, is you're going every day to light the menorah. You have the Mizbeach HaKtoires. You have the Shulchan, the Lechem Apanim. And then you have the Heichal. It's this rectangle over here. Don't forget, the building's 100 amma tall. This whole thing, 1, 2, 3, this entire Kedusha Shebekdusha is in Binyamin. V'Refuah yoytzeis, hoyse yoytzeis mechalko shel Yehuda, v'nichneses bechalko shel Binyamin. Uba mizbeach bonoi. So, we have here a little bit of, this is taken from the Mesifta and Yuma. I drew a blue line here. This is what it should have been. There should have been a clear line going down. This is Yehuda, and this is Binyamin. But what happened is that Binyamin got a little extra. Binyamin got this part. Yehuda is over here. Everything in red is Yehuda. See? Everything's in red and Yehuda instead of it being divided like this. So let's see. So we just had this recently that the Gemara Rashi brings. The reason why he's called Binyamin HaTzadik because there's only 4 people that never sinned. One of them is Yehuda Binyamin. Who's the other one? Moshe Rabbeinu's father, David HaMelech's father, David HaMelech's son, Kilov. He wanted that peace. Shenemar choifef olav kol hayoyim. Says Rashi, choifef, he scratched his head. It's like a lashon is scratching in Hebrew. Chafifa is to wash your hair with shampoo. It's a lashon of scrubbing. What's pshat taka? Because you're not allowed to cry about your friend's Tesla, that he has a Tesla that you can't afford one. That's kinna. That's also. And over here, it's the ultimate kinna. Over here, he's saying, I don't want Yehuda to have it either. I'm not going to share with him. I want more. I want part of his peace. When it comes to Ruchnis l'chayra, you're allowed to cry. You're supposed to cry. You're supposed to want. You're supposed to want what the other person has. The other guy has shas. I want shas. The other guy has whatever it is. He's a tremendous bal chesed. I want to be like that. You're allowed to be mekana in another person for Ruchnis. Lefichach zocha b'yamin v'nasu shpezichin l'shchina. So that's why, because he's upset that Yehuda got all this, he ended up getting in Kodesh HaKadoshim. There's a very interesting medrash that says that when the Shvatim found out that the Gavia, the Kiddush cup, is in Amtachas Binyamin, in Binyamin's sack, so they started beating him up. What are you doing to us? You're Ganav. And they called him the Ganav, the son of a Ganav. Your mother Rachel was also Ganevas. She stole the Getchkis. They beat him, they took him, they beat him Bank Seifov. The only Shevet, the only one of the Shvatim that didn't hit him was Yehuda. So because he didn't hit him with a belt, the Refuah, he got an extra Refuah, he got a little extra than he was supposed to get. That's what it says in the Medrash. Says Gemara, Vaytana Sovar L'Nischalku Yerushalayim L'Shvatim. Hold on. Okay. Zog Gemara. Vaytana Sovar L'Nischalku Yerushalayim L'Shvatim. This is Benichusa. It's not a question. It's a thing. Pshat. This Tana holds that Yerushalayim wasn't divided for the Shvat and the Sanya, Eid, Maskir, and Batim Yerushalayim. You don't have the right to use your house as an Airbnb and rent it out to the Oiler Regalim. People are coming, I'm going to rent it out, I'm going to make good money now in Yontif. You can't do that. It's not yours to rent it out. You can't even rent out a bed. What's pshat? But it's my bed. Why can't I rent out my bed? So Taisus explains, you could rent out your bed. But how much does a bed cost? Yeah, you give him a folding bed, cost $150. What can you charge for the rent? $5. When you rent a bed, you're renting the real estate that's under the bed. And that you don't have the right to. It's not your real estate. So you're renting the physical bed that moves. No. So I'll give you $2 for that. And in fact, that's why the hides that come off the shlamim, the taida, whatever, the karbanis that you're allowed to eat the hide or use the hide, that hide goes directly to the owner of the bed. For the $2 that you owe him, he'll get $2 worth of hide. He can actually physically remove it from your possession. He can take it bizraya with his hand, physically. But it's nothing. It's negligible. How much is a hide? What is it worth? Okay, as much as the bed that you gave the guy. That's it. Omar Abai Shmamino, Oyrich Aro, says Abaya. You might remember this Gemara from Yuma. Mamish, word for word. Oyrich Aro, Lemishbak Inish Gupa, Umashkobush Bize. The norm is that you have a little bit of a jar, that you had some water in it, whatever it is, leave it for the balabas. Those days they didn't throw out the jars. It had some value, leave it. You have a little bit of hide, give it to the guy. Today, you go somewhere, you give him a bottle of wine. You give him something. It's normal. This is the norm, says the Gemara. A guy, he was mareach you, he hosted you, you give him a gift. It doesn't have to be crazy, a small gift. So you have like this. We have the 7 trustees of the city. These are politicians. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are G'dolei Adar. These are more guys that rule the city. They run the city. Hold on, I got to turn this down. I realized that because the room was cold-ish, my cough came on terribly. Baruch Hashem, it's better to be very hot than cold in my situation now. Okay, so you have 2 groups here, 2 things that we're concerned with. The Tuvei Yoir, the 7 trustees, and the community. So like every good machlokes, we have there's 3 levels. If you have the combination of the 2, I use the greater than sign, whatever, but you get the point. If you use the 2 of them together, and they sell a shul, then there's 0 G'dush in the shul, 0 G'dush in the money that comes out of the sale. On the flip side is down here. You don't have the Tuvei here, and you don't have the community. A couple guys, Chevermanim, decided they're going to make a nice sale before anybody chaps and pocket the money. So what do you have? You have the G'dusha remaining in the shul. You can't make it a bowling alley. And the money, the cash that you got from it, also, you can't just buy a car with it. You have to buy stuff with it. And then you have the middle thing, the middle ground. It's either or. You either got permission, it was sold by the Tuvei Yoir, or it was sold by the whole community. What happens is, the shul loses all its G'dusha, but the money has G'dusha to it. Okay? Those are the 3 things that come out from the sugya. Again, if you have both Tuvei Yoir and the community, no G'dusha, not in the money, not in the shul, you don't have either. G'dusha remains in everything. If you have one or the other, either Tuvei Yoir or the community, then it leaves the shul, but does not leave the money. Says the Gemara, Oivei, wow, it's late. Be'ezer Hashem Motzi Shabbos, we're going to catch up everything. So, the whole concern is because the 7 Tuvei Yoir were not with the whole community. But if you have both, listen to this. You can make it into a bar. The worst thing that you could possibly imagine. The biggest bizayon out of a shul, can make it into some sort of bar. Sponsored by Moshe Horn and Woody Wyman and zechus for Morty Matzkos, and in honor of myself for all that I do. Shkoyach. Ravino Havaliahu Tilo de Beknishto. Ravino had a piece of land, and this is right next to Bet Shemesh, ruins of a shul. It's not a shul. Now we want to plant stuff here, which a lot of Rishonim hold is a bizayon. It's like making a bar. Also coming there Ravashi, Omalu, Malim Mizrei. Ravina and Ravashi, the 2 people that wrote the Shas. Ravina asked Ravashi, what should I do? What you do is, you get permission from the trustees, from the community, then it becomes yours, you do whatever you want. Then you could plant. Rabbi Barabba have a koi koboni beiknishta. Rabbi Barabba was building a shul. Have a knishta atiko. There was a very old shul. Have a boiler mystery. He wanted to knock it down. They even do it till this very day. Though, what's the word? Reappropriate, something. Anyway, you'll use the bricks of an old house, of a barn, or in a barn they'll take the wood, the wooden floors. They'll do something with it. Some people love that stuff. Could I do that? Knock down a shul, take all the wood, build a new shul. Yosef come in Bayale. What's the question? Hadran Rav Chisda in Rav Chisda. Dama Rav Chisda. Leilista beiknishta ad the bani beiknishta achrita. It's usher to knock down a shul until you build a new one. Hasam mishum shiusa, because maybe people will fall asleep at the wheel. They'll never build a new one. They'll knock down the old one and never build a new one. But now I'm breaking it in order to use the material. Also reclaimed, I think is the word. Also kamei Rav Papa v'asarle. Rav Papa said it's tasar. Kamei Rav Huna v'asarle. Both said it's asur. We're concerned. You'll knock it down. You'll have a nice pile of good wood. You'll never build a shul. You'll have to trade it in order to use it for a mundane purpose, not for a shul. You're not allowed to rent it out. Why? Because it still has kedusha. If you're renting it out, then you're retaining the kedusha of it. My time of kedusha. Living in Nami. What about the bricks? I want to reclaim the beautiful bricks. If to sell it and get something out of it is mutter, but to lend it is also. Hanamila says the Gemara about tikta, old bricks that were used as a shul. Al bechato, listen about. If they're brand new in a pile of bricks, it's also. It's mutter. There's nothing. What's a new brick? There's no kedusha to it. And even if you say that just looking at something and saying, I want to use this for something, and we'll see a good example in a second. If I'm putting together tachrichim for that person, it never touched that person. We know everything that's involved with a dead person is asur ba'ana. You're not allowed to use a tombstone, a grave, for anything. You can't put your siddur down on a caver. It's asur ba'ana. You can't step on it. You can't do anything with the mace. So the tachrichim also. So as soon as I decide that this tachrich goes to the mace, it's asur ba'ana. Over here, I don't have a beged for a mace. I'm making a string to make a beged for a mace. The string never has isra ana. So over here, I have a stone that I'm about to put in a wall that I'm about to make a shul. So it's 2 steps removed. It's like having just yarn, thread, and that's never awesome. There's no such man. Says Gemara Matana. What if I want to give away a shul as a gift? On the side it says a better word, b'mai, because that's the translation. Where is the kedusha going to? I have something kaddish, I give it to you, and so I gave it to you. How did you remove the kedusha from the shul? It didn't have anywhere to go to. If there's money, then the kedusha jumps into the money, and the money becomes kaddish. Reb Chaim Brisker always says, nothing in this world is for free. But the cheapest way to get something is by paying for it. The guy did a big favor to somebody, now you owe him the whole shul. You have to give him the whole shul for free. But the shul is worth $2 million, and the guy's favor was worth $10,000. That's it. That's why you don't take favors from people. Because it's very expensive afterwards to take a favor from somebody. So they owed him a favor, he did something to them, so it's as if he bought it with cash. I know it's late. This is called Ar HaMerkaz. There's a few thousand people that get this every week. It's our in-house newsletter. In here, we have a tremendous Talmid Chacham. He was the one that did the raffle for us, Reb Yaakov Schomburg. Every week he has a big article that has to do with the Daf usually. And this week it's a 4-page article about this sugya. Let me show you a chart that I stole from him right out of I just printed it right off the thing. It's beautiful. It says like this. I'll read it real quickly because I know we're late. Sifrei Torah Nevi'im Ksuvim Mezuzahs and Tefillin Parshiyos. The parsha must be buried in a sealed earthen or plastic container. Just reading off of his thing. Printed articles with Hashem's name, Sfarim, Tefillin, and the bottom of the Tefillin to be burned, wrapped in a sealed thick plastic. Buried, wrapped in a sealed plastic. Short life publications with Divrei Torah for casual reading, printer proofs, to be discarded respectfully in a protective wrapping. That's all inherent Kedusha. Now you have a category of Tashmishe Kedusha. Either service or protect coming into permanent direct contact with Kedusha. Included tefillin straps. This week, a guy snipped off his tefillin sharosh, it was too long for him, snipped off the bottom, threw it into the garbage. Tashmishe Kedusha, you can't do that. Plastic tefillin boxes, svarim covers, mezuzah protectors. The protector of a mezuzah, you knew that it's Tashmishe Kedusha. You gotta be careful with it. Torah mantles, what do you do with them? To be buried, wrapped in sealed, thick plastic bags. Tashmish the Kedusha, removed. Items which serve as Tashmishe Kedusha, outer plastic towels and tefillin bags. The plastic goes over the tefillin bags. Svarim shelves. Did you know a Svarim shelf has Dusha? Azay Zok Reb Schomburg. To be discarded respectfully. By the way, your tzitzis rips. What do you do with your tzitzis? L'chayr, you could throw it into the garbage. It's better, I think the Ramah says, better to wrap it and then put it in the garbage. Just saying. Maybe Rabbi Schomburg is going to be mechulek on me. Tashmish mitzvah, items have been used for a mitzvah, including shofar, kiddush cup. There's a kiddush. I never thought about a kiddush cup. That's why you got to read the Arim Merkaz. And if you have a simcha, you email them and they put your simcha in there. Everybody knows about it. B'samim. Anybody thought about b'samim? You make a bracha on it every Matzah Shabbos. B'samim. Yishkoyach of Schomburg. Arba minim I know about. Tzchach I know about. Udu I know about. In Borak I was playing with tzchach after Sukkos. A guy walked over to me, smacked me right in the face. Didn't ask me any question. Poof! Now the poor guy didn't realize who he's starting up with. I use the tzchach as a weapon. Whatever. We're not going to go into it. Fine. Zog the Gemara. Mereish, Tashmishe mitzvah nizrakim. You can throw it out respectfully. Tashmishe Kedusha nignazim. You have to bury. Veilum Tashmishe mitzvah, sukkah, lulav, shofar, tzitzis. The famous story with the Chassam Sofer. Two Bachrim came for her. One was an amazing, one was not so amazing. The one that was amazing left the house and stepped on tzchach. He did not accept him to yeshiva. He accepted the other guy to yeshiva. Because you have to have that sensitivity to divrei kedusha. How you deal with them. This is considered Tashmishe Kedusha. Dluskame, Svarim, the sacks, says Rashi, that are around the Svarim, Tefillin Mezuzahs, the sack around the Tefillin Mezuzah. V'tikshal Sefer Torah, the mantle, v'nar tikshal Tefillin, urtzuziseyem, and the Retzuzah Tefillin. Omar Rava, Mereisha Amino, Haikursio the Tashmish Udushari. I thought the bima that you put a Sefer Torah on is a Tashmish the Tashmish. And it's not. Given the Chazina, the Moisve Lovei Sefer Torah. I realized that there's no, like in MDY now, I stole the cloth that goes on top because I thought that somebody gave it to me as a gift. I wanted to use it for my own kids. I'm going to bring it back. But once people realize, hey, there's no cover now for the bima, then the bima itself has more kedusha. I mean, I realized Tashmish kedusha, v'asur, can't do anything with it. High prisa, the paroiches. The inside, a lot of shuls have wood on the outside. You open it up, you have a paroiches inside. Tashmish the tashmishu. I thought it's 2 steps removed. Given the chazino, the eifele, umanchi sifra levei. Sometimes they fold it over for underneath the Torah itself. Amino, then it's not 2 steps, it's 1 step away. Tashmish kedushu v'asur. You know what? Let's stop here because it's getting late. Matzah Shabbos Beis Hashem, we'll make it all up. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.